Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochenek here. What is actually technically day 4 of the bloody test. But I don't see anyone playing out there because the damn test match finished in 2 days, 2 hours. Terrible as it is, we're still at a level. We've all got our hotel rooms booked. We might as well use them. We're staying on. I've brought two lovely gentlemen to join me today, joining Norman Kochenek and Eyes on Sports. We have the very yellow bumblebee looking.
See, I'm sporting a yellow one because of Australia.
Yeah. So this is Debasis Sen, who has his bumblebee yellow top on. Debasis Sen represents Rev Sports. He represents himself as well, and a whole bevy of photographic journalistic work all over the world. How are you?
Fine, it is an absolute pleasure, Norman, to meet you. Means we have been friends for so long, and Tony as well. And last time when we turned up in Adelaide, Tony was graciously kind in taking us to Holden Street, the Barossa Valley, and we have always got along very well with each other, Norman.
Although I'm not getting along very well with Debasis because he started to introduce Tony before I did. Thank you very much. My other guest, who you bloody will know who's on anyway because Debasis introduced him, is the local Adelaide historian, come ex-government person, Tony Boom Boom Rose. I don't know where the boom comes from.
No, I don't know where boom
Just,
boom
just,
comes
just,
either.
just Tony Rose. How are you, Tony?
I'm very well, Norm. Thanks, mate. And it is a bit disappointing for the third year in a row the test match is finished before the end of day 3. And we're here virtually with a wasted day, aren't we? Beautiful weather. Could have been a great crowd. Good match. And, well, happily for Australian supporters, it's over and with a good result.
But Norman, I just have to interrupt. I want to ask both of you: is it fair to have a day-night test match with ping ball test when matches get over in 3 days because the public, the people, they bring in the tickets to watch a fascinating game of test match for 5 days, going on for the 5 days, eventually having a result in the for last session of the final day. That is what the beauty of test match is all about. But finishing in 3 days, we are here on day 4. What's your thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, Debasis, you brought up a great point. The reality is, one of the best test matches I've ever witnessed here was when Mike Hussey, I think, scored the winning runs on day 5 of the match. I think it was against England, was it not?
Yeah, it was.
And that was incredible. And I remember Shane Warne bowling well on that last day. They were up against
in
it.
the final innings.
Exactly. Shane Warne was up against it. That was, to me, one of the best test matches. And that was a gripping 5-day test match. Daytime, true conditions of Adelaide. This day-night game, in my opinion, is just for television and doesn't really win anyone over. And having a pink ball they use once in a blue moon, like my colour combination there, the fact is a pink ball once in a blue moon is a joke. Go back to traditional red ball in the daytime. Look at this great sunshine. We'll have a great game of cricket here for 5 days.
Yeah,
So I totally agree.
Look, you can certainly see the commercial reality of it, can't you? Because they had enormous crowds over for 30,000 yesterday for less than 2 hours of cricket, 50,000 each of the first 2 days. So commercially, like the public speak with their feet, if you like, turning up. But socially, it destroys things. By the time you finish up at night, it's too late to go for a meal, really too late to go out and catch up with people who have been working for the test. And so in some ways, selfishly, it finishing early at least allows us to catch up.
And more so, Tony, the fact that none of the other test playing nations play a ping ball test. It's only Cricket Australia that keeps it an annual fixture when it comes to ping ball
We were
test.
talking about it yesterday, like after the match, everyone stays around, has a beer and thinking, well, next year the English test here is going to be a day test and the day night is going to be in Brisbane. And I think from the spectator point of view, or cricket purist, however, we thought, well, that's actually going to be a good thing, in that depending on the weather, you can judge how you're going to manage your day. You get at the end of the day's play. We can walk up the road to the city, grab a meal, catch up socially. I know Adelaide is promoted as the social test, and certainly what goes on out the back of the village green is phenomenal, isn't it? Huge crowds, but at the end of the day's play, it is like everyone just goes home because it is really late. And for guys like you, Debasis, who have then to file reports and you've still got work commitments, Like you must be finishing at midnight.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it makes it difficult to catch up when people from around the world are coming and you want to catch up with friends who are working during the test. It's difficult, isn't it? But it's
It's great. It's great points. Look at this beautiful sunshine, Adelaide Oval. Imagine it full. Behind the stand, the chapel stand, which is directly behind me with the red seats, is this village green that Tony was talking about. Magnificent village green. Only second, I'd say, to Lords in terms of that village green feeling.
Yeah.
Very special
Yeah.
indeed. And I mean, I love Adelaide Oval greatly. We can also see the old scoreboard over there, and that's adds history, and I really love it. So we're missing out on 2.5 days cricket by having this debacle. And we're going to go straight to the match now and talk about it. And I spoke earlier to these lovely gentlemen about where the pivotal moments were. First test, India won very handsomely. And we had a similar moment in this test. After India got 180, similar to 150 odd in the first test match, they had Australia potentially on the ropes when McSweeney was dropped by Rohit Sharma. And they would have led to Steve Smith going, it would have probably moved Labuschagne also into a wicket mode. We could have been 4-5 down by the end of the first day, and we could have had a similar score, and the match might have turned on its head, and India might have won. What do you guys think of the match?
Yeah, I would reckon that there has been some captaincy blunder from Rohit Sharma as well, not to bring Jasprit Bumrah in the third session of day one. Means twilight effect, the pink new ball. Easily he could have given a breakthrough, but that was not the case. But and also the fact that Harshit Rana has been the weak link in this Indian bowling after doing so well in Perth in that first Test match's debut, but he failed miserably because the problem with the Indians is that they don't get an opportunity to practice with the pink ball often. Means
No one does.
take the instance of Harshit Rana. He has never played a pink ball test, or he have never practiced with the pink ball. It's only those few practice sessions that he trained with. So I think that has been the undoing for the Indian team as far as this pink test is concerned.
Just quickly,
Yeah,
Tony.
yeah, go ahead.
Before you go, I was just going to talk about the pink ball. I actually held the pink ball, not the one that's used in the match, but a very similar ball. It is so different to hold. It's more. It's much. The lacquer is much more slippery. You need to have a special grip because if you don't have a special grip, you'll let the ball go way too early. It's very interesting.
I can tell you who has got a special grip, and that's Mitchell Starc, because
Yes.
he bowled terrifically. And like that Friday here was not as oppressively hot as the Thursday, the lead-up day, but it was still pretty hot, pretty humid. We had a few drops of rain, and that evening session when Australia went in, you got McSweeney, who doesn't open for the state, and like I'm a South Australian, so we're all keen to see him go well, but he plays and misses quite a bit, doesn't he? He's a bit lucky at the moment. It was really a good relief to see him go through, and having an ounce of luck there really went a long way to help Australia consolidate.
Do you think he should open?
No, but
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. What the hell was Australia doing putting a man who is a good batter, I'm not knocking his batting, in as an opener? You've got, I'm going to start my high horse here, Sam Constance has scored 3 centuries in the last split second. He's 80 odd not out the last match. 100 against the travelling Indian team. Why wouldn't you put a man in form in his appropriate position?
this is the scheduling problem, isn't it? So we just finished the Sheffield Shield match last weekend, or end of last week, and the other opening bat that could be a consideration, Henry Hunt, makes 140 odd. The runs just come too late, and now everything goes into hiatus, Sheffield Shield, because of the big bash. And you think, well, okay, if you're going to prioritise the test team and then transition to the test team,
Play Sheffield Shield cricket.
well, you've got to give these guys a long form game to get runs on the board.
Look, if I did not see another BBL match, I'd be bloody happy. I find it tiring to watch.
Well, does BBL have to start so early? Like, maybe it can start like the week before Christmas rather than 2 weeks before. And we can
Agreed.
put in another Sheffield Shield game and give these guys, you're right about the New South Wales guy, Constance. Like, he's made runs, but early in the tryouts, if you like,
One game.
he didn't get the chance. And now you look and think, well, the ideal scenario would be Constance at opening, McSweeney is the number 3. the pressure was on Labuschagne coming in there. He's answered or risen to the pressure, but you've got guys batting in their right positions.
Well, I had Alan Border literally within stone's throw of where we're sitting now, here, chatting to me about this very point, and I wish I would have captured it. He said, there's no point in clean sweeping the team or refreshing the team, all 11 players next season or season after. We've got to start changing them now and transition players in. Really, Smith, albeit a great player, is waning, and if he's like Shane Warne, he leaves on top, which is not going to be for much longer, if at all. Really, Smith, Labuschagne, and of course Warner's gone. There's three positions right there. Henry Hunt should open with Constance, with of course first up McSweeney, and I'm still going to maintain a bloke that I've talked about for a long time is now playing in your state, south of Australia, Jason Sanger, who just scored a century as well.
Yeah.
There's your top four. That's a dynamite top four. In
Big,
Australia,
big generational change though, isn't it?
it is, but that's a gun four.
Big generational.
Australian under-19 captain
Yeah.
who scored centuries against England, Pakistan, South Africa and Sri Lanka. Jason Sanger, hello. Why isn't he playing for Australia? Don't ask.
But I think Norman means if you look back at that pink ball test, I think it's good for Australia that McSweeney has scored some runs. So as well, Labuschagne, Travis had looked to be the difference between both the sides as far as batting is concerned.
Yeah.
So yes, except you can argue except that Steve Smith has is just one knock away from getting back into form. So that Australian top order is looking good. Means after that pink ball test.
I think we do agree. Steve Smith's got odds on. Steve Smith is going to score 100 in this series because he's such a good player.
Absolutely.
You want to put some money on
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, I put money on India to win this test at $2.65 and done my money. So I'm a lousy punter.
I just want to go through. I got the Adelaide Advertiser, which is not a country newspaper, is it?
It's not a country
It's not
paper,
a,
is
okay. Let me just read through. There's one in particular I'll start with. This is Australia's ranking or ratings, 1 out of 10 to 1, 10 being the best. Now, Usman Khawaja was ranked 4.
Generous.
Okay. McSweeney 6.5.
Generous.
But then the one that really got me, Labuschagne 8. He got 6 job, but he's not an 8. Steve Smith 1.5. I think that's hilarious. Travis had 9.5. Granted. Mitch Marsh 2.5. Yeah, a bit low.
Gifted. Gifted in his wicket.
Alex Carey 4.5. Well, that's a bit low too, I thought. He's dropped a few
Yeah.
catches. Pat Cummins 9, fair enough. Mitch Stark 9.5. Here's the one that really makes me bloody well laugh. Nathan Lyon. His rating was
Not available.
not
surely.
applicable.
There you are.
What goose has written that bloody article? He played the whole game. He can't be not applicable.
One
If he's-
over.
It doesn't matter if he bowled one over. He still was on the field. You give him a rating out of 10. You don't put not applicable.
What about Bo Webster? He's 12. He was on the field a fair while. You've got to give him a.
But Nathan Lyon played the game. He can't be not available, not applicable, or whatever.
No.
What goose has written that? I don't know. Give him a rate. How can he be rated not applicable?
All correspondence to Norman
Oh,
Kochenek.
Jesus. Scott Boland 8. All right. Okay. Sorry. Can you explain to me, someone, how you don't get a rating if you played the whole game?
Yeah, how can you not get a rating when you play the whole game? It's ridiculous. But Norman, but let me because before we wrap this video,
I think it was about
I would
Ben
just
Hall
like
and
to
Open.
ask your opinion about Rohit Sharma, the kind of form he has been going in recent times. Means he has definitely he needs to pull up his socks. Means if India are to win that Test match in Brisbane, the captain needs to set example. And do you reckon that he should open the batting for India?
Look, I was very impressed with Rohit's initial thoughts of leaving Rahul and Jaswal together. I did appreciate that. But he looked clueless at 5 or 6 wherever he batted. He looked completely out of place. He needs to open again because that's where he's been batting. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's what we just talked about, generational change with the Australian side. You pick your batters for their position.
Yeah.
So if they're an opener, they open. You don't try and make them into something else.
You don't-
And I think one of the reliefs out of this beginning of this series, the talk about Travis Head being forced to open or moved up the opening.
Right.
we've seen the benefit of such an aggressive counter-attacking batsman coming at 5. He took the game away in that session, didn't he?
A la Adam Gilchrist.
Yeah, that's
Very
right.
much like.
And that's the value of those players, and also the value of, if you pick a batsman, bat them where they bat.
Absolutely.
All right.
Just quickly, we've got a bit of time because Debasis done do his editing of his next video. Indian ratings. Jaswal 2. Sorry, Jaswal 2. Steve Smith 1.5. I mean, Jaswal's far and away playing better. Even though he got out for a duck first ball, he batted quite nice in the second. He hit the ball very well. That's a wrong
Well,
way.
how did he go in the first, mate?
It was first
Did you see
ball.
much of it?
That's not bad batting. It was just bad luck. It was a great delivery.
It was a
Let's
good
be-
ball.
Yes.
That was a good.
It was
amazing.
a cracking ball.
Amazing ball.
Yes.
Rahul 4. I think that's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Shuman Gill 5. I think that's a bit harsh too.
No, I think that's generous.
Okay.
That guy can bat, and why he gets out at 30 odd.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
Tony makes a very valid point. Obviously, when you get going, when you have your eyes in,
Yeah.
you should make that count. Means that 30s won't make you a great player in the stature
That's
of
right.
a Sachin Tendulkar or a Virat Kohli. You need
Yeah.
to convert that starts into a big knock.
And
that is where
unfortunately, you
that
wanna be
is
aggressive,
differentiates
but
between
not
a good
not like
player and a great player.
It's not like he lacks talent, is it?
No, there's a reason for it. Shuman Gill's he's been diddly daddling with Tendulkar's daughter, hasn't he?
What?
Maybe he's been too preoccupied. They had a relationship, didn't they?
Oh, Norman.
I'm not going to get
No.
into this, Norman.
Okay.
Oh, we
well,
better edit that out.
you've heard of the first thing. Virat Kohli 2. Bit severe. Rishabh Pant 5. I think Rishabh Pant's better than that.
Mate, the only way India was going to win was when Pant was in
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
And to get out in the first over, man, that's disappointing.
Rohit Sharma 2. Yeah. Reddy, now this is one I don't agree with. Reddy was 6.5. He's worth more than that. The last 4 innings he scored 40 odd. That's pretty damn good from someone. Oh, he's literally top scored
6.5 when you get beaten by 10 wickets, mate. That's still a decent score. That's a good pass.
Yeah, I mean he's better. Well, he's good high than
It's a
6.5.
good pass.
Ashwin 3. I kind of agree with that. Bumrah 7. Yeah. Rana 2. You agree with that, I know.
Yeah.
And Siraj 5. Now we're giving Siraj 5 because he took on head. I'm
Booing
guessing.
capacity.
Yeah, but I think
The villain. We love him.
I mean, Reddy was one of their better players.
Yeah, I
he even
agree.
took an important wicket there at one stage as well.
Yeah.
A lot of potential, don't you think, Debasis?
Yeah.
There's Debasis editing one of his videos.
That's a heavy endorsement.
In the middle of something.
I could have said, Debasis, do you think India's going to sink? And he would have said, yes.
So he's looking at his phone.
I could have said anything then. I don't think he was listening. Anyway.
No.
Were you listening?
Yeah, Norman.
Don't, just quietly, guys. He's lying. He's lying.
Come on.
Don't
You
believe.
don't want
He
another
was looking
Siraj.
at his phone.
You don't want another
He,
Siraj. And head.
all right.
But controversy. What about that controversy?
I love it.
and Siraj?
I love it.
You need a bit of spice.
I love it.
You need a bit of spice.
love it.
Bit of spice, he said.
I mean, look at your t-shirt. It looks very spicy.
What I would say, when he's made 140 and taken the game away,
Yes.
it's too late to get on the lip.
Absolutely. But clearly, if you look at those replays, he was not saying well bowled. He was not saying well bowled, but
Oh,
rather he was
since when
saying
does F
he
off?
was saying a very good what with the later start that starts with
Freddie
F.
off. Freddie off.
Oh, you got a fair
Since
send
when
off.
is why would he say? Why would Travis Head say well bowled? My foot. He said F off. You want me to spell it for you? I won't.
He's got, in response, he got a fair old send off from Shiraz.
That's what a bowler does.
No.
What's wrong with a bowler going like that? What's the
No.
problem?
When you knocked up 140 and you finally get the bloke out, you just like go back to your mark and get in the next one. You don't go sending
and
the bloke
especially when you
off.
drop him, drop head.
That's right.
Means-
Exactly. And you've seen that batsman take the game away from you, mate. You can save your breath.
Very inappropriate name head, isn't it? But we won't go on about it. All right, okay. Now, thank you for the learned comments from our resident historian, Tony, Tony
Slightly
Rose,
biased opinion.
Tony Historian Rose, and Debasis Bumblebee Sen with his top. That's his new nickname. And Norman Suave
I'm
and
really
Sexy.
impressed by the professionalism of this.
It's fantastic. It's
Debasis,
fantastic.
aren't you?
Well, my viewers love a bit of spice and a bit of straightforwardness. telling the truth, how I feel. I used to hate Head. I don't mind Head now.
Oh, what?
I now hate Labuschagne because I think his comments in the paper, as I read it earlier. Did I read it out? No, I don't think I did. I didn't read it.
No, don't bother.
No, that's very important. Okay, this is what Labuschagne said after the test match. Last week, with probably wobbling his head, last week we lost a test and we were apparently the worst team ever. And this week we finished on day 3 with a series at 1-1. So what does that mean? It just means you won all. It doesn't mean you won the series. It's very early to be that smug. I'm telling you now, Marnus Labuschagne comes to grips with a roller coaster week. Is that a comment that says he comes to grips with a roller coaster week? It sounds like he's being smug. Be careful, Marnus. You better produce in the next few games, or otherwise you'll have egg on your face. All right. Well, let Bas have a word.
About what?
Yeah, absolutely. Because for Australia to do well, they will need their batters to fire. Means obviously now with Hazelwood also being available, and in all probability Hazelwood will be playing in that third Test match at Gabba. Means obviously Scott Boland have to make way, irrespective, despite the bowling well. But I think the onus will be on the batters to score
My
runs.
word.
It applies to both the teams.
Absolutely.
It is the batters. If you score big, if you score, means 170, 180, 200 does not win you matches regularly in these conditions. You
No.
need to score at least 300 if you bat first.
Yeah, we need a 450, don't we?
Yeah.
Someone to knock up a 450 innings.
Well, it's so sad because Australia in the first test didn't get more than 104 runs in the first innings and 238 in the second. Even here, they didn't get many runs either. Let's be honest. What was their total? 300.
337.
Which it was reasonable, but really, I'm so used to Australia scoring 450 every time they play a test match, especially early on. So the momentum last test series, I want you to note this, last test series between these two teams, Border Gavaskar Trophy, Australia led 1-0 at this stage, ended up losing the series 2-1. My concern is Australia finished series rather poorly in Australia. They usually come home, they start brilliantly, win the first 2 tests and bludgeon the other teams, and they wane towards and they generally lose the Sydney or latter test. Now that India's won and won all, that puts a lot of pressure on the last 3 test matches, in particular because Sydney and Melbourne favour the Indians, in my opinion.
Yep.
And
Well, the conditions are more benign for the Indian side.
Yes.
Brisbane is going to be, the Gabba is really traditionally a fortress, so let's see how Australia goes there.
But the only thing you've got to remember, the mental confidence of a lot of those players, well, 9 out of the 11 players weren't even in that test match, by the way, last time the Gabba was on, and India won that match. Psychologically, it's a massive turn on their confidence levels.
Right.
And that's where I think the last 3 test matches, in my opinion, will go potentially 3-2. They may lose the Gabba, India, but they're going to win Melbourne. It comes down to Sydney. I still believe India will win 3-2, even though after what we've seen
That's a
today.
big statement. No?
Big
Yeah,
statement.
big statement.
Well, watch this on the show, 3-2, Norman's predictions. Well, we might as well end with your prediction, Tobias.
I would also go with you, Norman, because I think Brisbane, I think Australia will be favourites to win, because given that the way they performed in this test match and also conditions in the Gabba will favour the Australians more than the Indians. But going into Melbourne and Sydney, I think India have a very, very good chance. And the good thing for India is that they won that first test match in Perth. Because no one actually put their money on India winning that test match after getting bowled out for 150, and then to bounce back the manner in which they did. I think this series is nicely set up.
Yeah. 5 test matches, that's the key. What do you think, Tony?
I think we were talking earlier, if you do a combined 11 out of the 2 sides, the majority would be Indian players.
Absolutely.
But I think in Australia's favour, you've got that experience which has come through here to bounce back from Perth, to perform the way they did in Adelaide. I think it reflects the experience of the side, and I think that's going to hold them or give them the advantage or be enough over the remaining 3 tests to see Australia win the series.
It's an amazingly insightful comment, Tony. I'm really impressed if you do make the joint 11, how very few Australian players make it. And you said it was Head, Cummins, maybe, and Stark. Yeah.
Well, I think they're the 3, and then the rest of it I think would be 50-50 at best, and then some clear ones for India. So yeah, so I think those 3 Australian players would be a shoo-in. Then you could mount an argument, and then otherwise you think no, like the Indian side have shown their form.
So imagine 3 out of the 11 are Australians. That's quite incredible. You never would think that. All right, guys, thank you for your time, Tony and Debasis. This is Norman Kochnik signing off, well, on a day that should have had day 4 play. We're signing off today. Stay tuned. It's Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnik, better known as Eyes on Sports. View, like, and share. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. This blue hat's the subscribe button. And hit the notification button here. And you're going to see me and many others talking freely about what we think in cricket, of our cricket today. Stay tuned. Debasis, you have to turn it off now for me.